So I've noticed a lot of people have came up with their own misconceptions on what the Rubicon 392 really is and what it's supposed to be. But to me, it's extremely simple. Today, we've got to talk about why people just don't understand what the Rubicon 392 really is. Now, back in the day, years and years ago, Jeep did offer quite a few different vehicles with a V8 in it. Now, when Jeep made a V8 in the Wranglers, or the precursors to that in the past, it was extremely transparent as what that vehicle was supposed to be. It didn't have some crazy suspension. It didn't have a bunch of different crazy modes. It didn't have a crazy transmission. It was just a Jeep Wrangler, or a CJ, with a V8. So you had a little bit more power than what you had with the standard inline sixes. Now, the inline sixes of the past, they weren't horrible. They were great motors, but obviously, whenever you have an inline six, a V6, basically if you don't have a V8, some customers are just gonna want a little bit more power. Now, skipping all the way forward to the YJ, there wasn't a V8 model available in the entire time frame of them producing the YJ. Same thing with the TJ, same thing with the JK. There weren't any V8 models that you could get from the factory. So there ended up being a lot of aftermarket support for V8 swaps and Jeep Wranglers, and it's been extremely common basically ever since the Wrangler has been around. It's always seemed like the type of people to buy Jeep Wranglers are the type of people that are willing to throw some crazy money into them just to get what they want, whether that's the sound, the power, or just to be able to say that they have a V8 in their Jeep Wrangler. Now, Jeep obviously knew the demand for the V8 Wranglers has always been out there. Obviously, their original V8 Jeeps did well, but like I said, they didn't do them for a YJ, a TJ, a JK, and they didn't start off doing it with the JL. So I think one of the hardest things for them was finding a way to package that all together to give the customer that did want the V8 the options they wanted, and to be able to put that into a package that some people would still be able to afford. Now, in recent times, vehicle prices have went absolutely insane. So to get anything aside from the standard or the typical norm, it's usually pretty expensive. So Jeep already makes a pretty expensive unit. Just the standard Rubicon itself, they're somewhere around $50,000. So to be able to add in that V8, especially the SRT inspired V8 392, it was going to be a stretch if really anybody was going to be able to afford it. So for the 2021 model year, sure enough, we ended up actually getting the Rubicon 392. Now, there was a lot of talk about it before, and they released that they were actually going to release these into production probably an entire year or a little bit more before production even started. So that gave all of us plenty of time to be a bit optimistic about a lot of the features that were going to come with it. Now, a lot of people will ask, what is the point of even having a V8 in a Jeep Wrangler? I mean, you can't really tow anything with it. They're still pretty much capped at 3,500 pounds of towing capacity. They are coming out with a full float rear end, which is going to help the towing capabilities, I believe, to take it somewhere around 5,000 pounds. But I mean, a lot of mid-sized SUVs can tow around 5,000 pounds, so you can't tow with it like you could a traditional vehicle. You might think of having a 6.4 liter Hemi in it. And aside from that, it does have quite a bit of power, but it's not ridiculously fast. 0 to 60 times on these things stock are right around 4 seconds. So it's not absolutely insane in terms of just straight line speed. So you might think, I guess, in off-road scenarios, it's just crazy fast and got all kinds of power. But whenever you're off-road, more times than not, especially with a solid axle vehicle, you're going to be on tight trails, you're going to be on rocks, you're going to be in the mountains. It's not like you're going to be out in the sand dunes just tearing things up. Of course, these will definitely do that, but that's not the main purpose. If it was, it would probably have different suspension on it. It would probably have independent front suspension instead of solid axle. So it's not really made to just absolutely blitz the trail, and in most situations where you really need to use the capabilities of a Rubicon, you're in tight situations where you need to be a bit technical. So if it's not for the towing capabilities, if it's not for the off-road pedal to the metal, just absolutely using all the power capabilities, what's it for? I mean, on the street, it's kind of quick, 0 to 60 in 4.0 seconds, but it's limited by its speed from the factory at 100 miles an hour. So it's quick, it's not fast. You obviously have all the passing power you need, which is something that we're not used to in Wranglers. It's really nice to have, but that's not their main point. The other thing people will talk about is just the sound. Of course, that 6.4 liter V8 sounds absolutely insane, especially with an exhaust like I have on mine. You really can't beat that sound out of a Jeep Wrangler, and to have that sound out of a Jeep Wrangler pretty much just leaves everyone with a question mark on their face. So you might ask, if it's not really that fast and you don't really get that much more utility out of it, what's the point of paying an extra $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a vehicle like this? And for a person like me, it's simply because we can get a V8 in a Jeep Wrangler. It's fun for me because I still have all the power I could really need, and I'm still driving a Jeep Wrangler. I've got all the capabilities to go off-road, but if I do want to have a little bit of fun on the street, I can do that and do it extremely well. And in terms of off-road, now whenever you go riding, there's not really an obstacle you're going to run into that you don't have enough power to go up. Now, aside from that, with the power, you're able to do things like I've done with this one and put the 38s on its stock and not really notice much loss of power at all. Of course, you lose power whenever you add bigger wheels, bigger tires, and you add more weight, but compared to the 3.6 liter V6, the turbo, 4-cylinder, any of that stuff, the loss of power is so insignificant that you don't even really consider it. So long story short, if you don't really understand or you just don't get why they make a V8 in a Jeep Wrangler, it's probably because you're not obsessed with Jeep Wranglers like a lot of people are. They just want to have the coolest one they can possibly have, and the V8 for now does that. If you haven't had a chance to go drive one of these or test one of these out in person, I really suggest you go find one, go try it out, and as soon as you drive it, you will understand exactly why they make a V8 in a Jeep Wrangler. If you guys haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. And until next time, Godspeed. Big old copperhead.